Live from 18 News, this is the Sheriff Forum.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We have the three sheriffs from Schuyler, Steuben, and Chemung County here. You're going to be hearing from all of them as the night goes on. We have a way for you to ask questions, and throughout this program, you're going to see a text message number. It's a special text message number we set up just for tonight, and there's also an email address. You can use the text message number to get to us quicker, I'll tell you that. Please feel free to send questions. Several people already have, so we're going to launch right into it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
This is not the first time you've done this, and it's very much appreciated because every time you guys have great information. I think it's a great public service. People hear from you. Before we start, same thing I always do, ask you to verify that you'll be hearing the questions I'm going to ask you for the first time when I ask them of you. I have not discussed the questions with you in any form.
You have not?
All right.
Nope.
All right, let's start. And this was a question we got from a viewer, too, and I already had it as my starting question. I'll go for you, Sheriff Schramm, to start. Let's start with Governor Hochul's order that fired correctional officers can't be hired back. You are a co-signatory on a lawsuit along with County Executive Chris Moss challenging the governor on that. How unfair did you feel that was, and how much of a blow does that make to all of you sheriffs in being able to hire qualified people for your jails?
Yeah, when the governor puts out an order that really takes away the constitutionality of our office, it's a major problem. You know, it's bad enough that she did what she did and the effects that it has on the individuals working in that environment, but to then turn around and demand that we are not to offer them employment is, you know, not only do we feel not legal, it's just wrong. So, you know, you're gonna probably, if you get into this more tonight, you're gonna hear probably each one of us talk about the impacts of her order. You know, we're from a very strong law enforcement community. We had 2 state prisons here. They've already closed one. The men and women of the Elmira Correctional Facility and then the other facilities throughout the state really did what they had to do in order of in face of the HALT Act. You know, so to not stand behind them would send a very wrong message, and we felt very strongly about it. The county exec and I spoke and felt that this was the best avenue moving forward. And, you know, whether that had any impact on her, hopefully not re-upping her executive order after April 9th, we'll see. But, yeah, it's just the right thing to do, and we wanted to make sure our correction officers knew that we were behind them.
My understanding is that a second county has now filed suit as well, that you're not alone.
Second and third, I believe.
Second and third?
Yeah.
Okay. Sheriff Rumsey, I'm going to go to you next because the same question. The Schuyler County Legislature wrote, and this is not a value judgment by me, but just judging by the way it was composed, the grammar and all that sort of, which is what I do. It was a very strongly and well-written message, but then the county legislature didn't pass that it would get sent, but we read it on the air twice. Is that pretty much with your line of thinking right now, that, you know, the governor should not be coming in and telling you who you can and cannot hire?
No, we definitely believe that she should not be telling us that. We believe that you know, these men and women who have been in this service for, you know, 10, 15 years or whatever it may be, can bring value to our offices, and to tell them that they can't do that. You know, the governor talks about the Clean Slate Act and these folks who are in prisons being able to reduce their sentences or their terms in jail with the Clean Slate Act. But you have some officers who felt that their working conditions weren't proper, weren't safe, and they broke the Taylor Law. Well, how about the Clean Slate Act for some of these men and women who can come and work for us? And you know, we're all feeling the effects of staffing, and these people could be valuable to us.
Can you just give us a really quick summation of what the Clean Slate Act entails?
Basically, it's an act that if you are behaving basically in prison, they make your sentence lighter or less, and you get out of prison.
I think that was a point that was made in the Schuyler County Legislature's letter.
Yes.
Was that you got the Clean Slate Act for prisoners, but then you don't have anything like that for the correctional officers.
Yes.
Sheriff Allard, I'm going to ask you a different version of this question because in our business, there's something called non-compete orders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that somebody at another business gets fired, another station in our area gets fired, and they want to come to work for us. In New York, non-competes are illegal.
Right.
So how can this order stand, and why should the governor be able to tell you, as the chief law enforcement person in your county, who you can and can't hire?
Well, she shouldn't be able to. And she couched it under her emergency order. But these folks, this isn't something that's brand new with what was happening with the correction officers. Ever since the HALT Act came in, our jails and our prisons have become increasingly more dangerous and increasingly less safe, not only for the folks working there, but the inmates also. And there's been grievance after grievance and issue after issue, and then you combine that with the lock-ins, not letting folks return home after their shift. And I think the spark was what happened in Collins. Suddenly, that was too much. They hit the tipping point, and I've said this all along, this strike was an act of desperation by people that had nowhere else to turn and had gotten to the point where they were so worried about their own safety and the safety of their colleagues and the safety of the inmates that they knew they would rather walk away from a high-paying job than put up with it one more day. And that's desperation. So what the governor did, I think, is despicable. And these folks have every right to continue. They've been trusted and valuable public servants for many years. We had one we interviewed who's been working for the state for 15 years. 15 years of that person's life they have dedicated to public service, and now we're supposed to throw them out like trash. It's horrible.
All right, let's talk about the HALT Act, because I'm not sure everybody understands that it's not just the prisons where the HALT Act affects, it's your jails. And Sheriff Allard, since the HALT Act came in, what are the main points that have made it not being able to use the kind of disciplinary issues you used to be able to use? How has that impacted your ability to run a safe jail? I guess that's the best way to put it.
So we've seen a dramatic increase in inmate-on-inmate assaults and inmate-on-staff assaults. And you've got to understand that the HALT Act came about saying that you can't put people in solitary confinement. Well, no county jail in upstate New York has solitary confinement. It doesn't exist. So this was based on a fallacy from Rikers Island from horror stories. And all of our jails, if you're locked into your cell for 24 hours, you can still see and interact with everyone else that's in that unit. So it's preposterous what the HALT Act was meant for, but if I'm an inmate and I stand up and I punch you in the mouth, I still have to be out of my cell for 7 hours every day. That's what the HALT Act says. So now I get to punch him in the mouth and be out for 7 hours every day. And then I get to get out and punch him in the mouth and be out for 7 hours every day. And there's really nothing that we can use to stop that person from doing that. And, it's not an exaggeration. Those are some of the folks that we have. So the HALT Act makes everyone less safe. It makes the likelihood for crimes to be committed in the jail greater, and it protects no one, and it makes it very difficult for our correction officers to maintain their morale in the face of an inability to hold people consequential to their actions.
Sheriff Rumsey, the strikers were saying they really wanted the HALT Act eliminated, and the governor suspended portions of it for a while. Do you think that was an admission, perhaps, from the governor or people, that they know this thing really is not a good law?
I would hope so. Just to suspend part of it, I believe is an admission, and it really needs to be looked at and ask. It would be nice if they would ask the people who have, let's say, the boots on the ground.
Right.
How does this affect, if we put this law into place, how does this affect you? Well, what's going to happen? And that could have been easily said and answered.
Sheriff Shrum, my understanding is when the state was debating the HALT Act, that nobody that from the boots on the ground law enforcement was involved in any of those discussions. Is that accurate?
It is not only accurate, it's shocking. I've said all along with a lot of the reforms that have been passed, whether it's been discovery law, raise the age, bail reform, the HALT Act,
Clean slate.
Clean slate. You can't effectively implement these laws if you don't have the right stakeholders at the table. And I've often said, you know, there might be portions of that we don't disagree with, but maybe the whole is problematic. So it's nice to have a different perspective saying, hey, we understand the concept behind what you're trying to do, but did you think about this, or maybe consider that? And if they get that different perspective, I think they might have, you would hope, would have taken a different approach. So it's very concerning that they continue to do that. And not only that, oftentimes when they implement these new laws, they don't have the system in place to support those changes. Whether it's raise the age, which is a huge problem for us in New York State. They raise the age of culpability for crimes to 18 years old, which now makes 16 and 17-year-olds fall in the juvenile program, but they don't have the housing to house these young people. We've had people as young as 13, 14 that there was no bed in the entire state. We had to put a girl in the basement of our sheriff's office, in our break room, all night long. It's not even humane for the child, let alone what that opens us up to. They do it. They don't have the proper support or mechanisms in place, and they say, oh well, we'll try to figure it out at some point in time.
Well, the face of crime is getting younger and younger. There was just a story we have on our website today: a 16-year-old kid arrested for armed assault with a weapon.
Why? It's because the adult people, you know, the 18, 19, 20, mid-20-year-olds are recruiting these younger people for that very reason. You go out and do our dirty work. Worst case scenario, you get caught. You may get sent away to a bed. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. You know, that type of thing. So.
You know, there's a song said, "You're under 18, you won't be doing any time."
Yeah. Yeah, when they have no beds, nowhere to put them.
Yeah. Sheriff Rumsey, I'm going to start with you on this next one. A few weeks ago, there was a rally at the State House, and there were a lot of correctional officers there, you know, several thousand. Inside the State House, there was a much smaller rally. I think, looking at it, there might have been 20 or 30 people. But they were full-throated calling the HALT Act racist. Is that, how would you react to somebody telling you that?
Boy, I think I would say that they're misinformed and probably haven't educated themselves on that. The HALT Act was meant for you know, across the board, every inmate to you know, control the like he said, the segregated confinement, which as Sheriff Fowler said, we don't have. So to say it's racist is an uneducated statement.
Sheriff Fowler, when you hear that, what's your reaction?
It just goes to show you the lack of reality that occurs in Albany. And sometimes it feels like they're on their own entirely different planet as they're contemplating what laws they're going to pass and how they're going to try and affect them. Back to Sheriff Schramm's point, two of the last three juveniles we had to transport to a secure bed, we had to take them to Nassau County. So if we're looking to make sure that these children are taken care of and treated in a humane, respectful way, we take them 5 hours away from their family and drop them in an alien environment because that's the only bed available. Now, how in the world is that best for the child?
Good question. Sheriff Schramm, same question. Is the HALT Act racist, and does it give jailers, as they said at the Capitol, does it give jailers or correctional officers a license to abuse black prisoners? That was a statement that was made.
Yeah, the sad part about that is if the HALT Act was passed just to be enforced against black inmates, certainly that'd be racist. The HALT Act was enacted as a humane alternative to long-term incarceration. That's what it stands for. That's what it's designed to do. That's for every inmate in there. From our perspective, it's not a license. You know, prior to having that, the benefits of not having the HALT Act comes down to nothing more than accountability. going back to Sheriff Allard's example, a simple assault, whether it's on an officer or another correction or another inmate, there has to be accountability. And if that's key block for a period of time in hopes to deter that behavior from continuing and sending a message not only to the person who was involved in that altercation, but those who see what happens to somebody involved in that, it's going to have an effect of saying, maybe that's not a good idea, and they're going to back off of that behavior. If they know there's no consequences behind their actions, it turns into a free-for-all. And I'll tell you that one of the best things I've seen, aside from these men and women stand up for themselves, is leaking that footage and letting people on the outside have an insight to what they're dealing with. Every day in those prisons, you will repeatedly see, time after time, unprovoked attacks on officers.
Well,
They do it because they know there's no consequences.
The union used to send out weekly reports. We haven't gotten one for a while
Right.
about the attacks. And yeah, what was amazing to me is the weapons that the prisoners can fashion out of little things, you know, like shivs out of toothbrushes and things like that.
But why do they do that? They're doing it more now because of the fear of themselves being attacked. Geez, if they're beating up COs, what are they going to do to me
Right.
that they don't like me? You know, it comes a matter of survival. That's not a good environment for anybody.
Okay, here's another text message question. This goes to you first, Sheriff Schramm. And they want to know when the sticker shops in our area are going to get shut down.
Great question. So I know that different entities within our county have passed local law. I know the Elmira, City of Elmira has done that themselves. They'll be responsible for any sticker shops within the City of Elmira. The agreement is pretty simple. If they need assistance from us or any other law enforcement agency, all they have to do is ask, and that will be provided. Same goes for us, any sticker shops that are out in the county. Really what we're looking for is they are offering training on the implementation of, I say offering it, we have not yet received it. We're waiting for just that component before we move forward and really start cracking down on some of these places. So, you know, I hear the frustration all the time when I'm out and about, and people, you know, say, hey, listen, they passed this, what are you guys waiting for? You know, it's really a sense of, again, the state's great about passing laws and not having any mechanism in place to deal with it, and then they wait 2 or 3 years after it's in place and okay, now we got to start doing something. Well, that in itself takes time as well. So we're just behind the 8 ball. It's definitely on the radar for a lot of people. We're just waiting for the right training and get out there and do it.
Kind of like an unfunded mandate without the funding at this
Yeah.
time too, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you're being asked to shut down sticker shops. You're not getting the funding or the extra people to make it happen.
Exactly.
I'll tell you who's really frustrated by this, because I've heard from them, is people who are setting up legal dispensaries.
Sure.
And they say that the sticker shops are underselling.
Of course they
And
are.
that's crazy because, you know, the legal shops, they have to pay a lot of taxes, and that goes into the cost of the marijuana.
And they're regulated, and the other
Yes.
ones aren't. That's
Yeah.
dangerous and
Yep.
problematic.
Well, one thing that the legals are saying is when you buy from us, you know what you're getting.
Right.
You don't have to
Correct.
worry about it.
It's regulated.
Your district attorney, Joe Fazzari, he went after sticker shops using kind of a form of the RICO law. He went after their money, saying these what, I'm just making something up here, fruit of a poisonous tree, if you will. And that seemed to work for you.
Yes. He basically went after just what we were just saying, the taxes. You know, these guys not paying taxes but making a whole lot of money, you know, is not right. We all pay taxes every day. Our taxpayers pay, you know, for our services, and they're not contributing. So that was one way he did go after them.
Sheriff Allard, same question. I know you guys have some sticker shops still in Steuben County.
We do. Actually, New York State Taxation and Finance were in the Village of Bath 2 days ago visiting one of our sticker shops, and I was glad to see it because, once again, New York, we stumble and fall backwards into this and create a law with no infrastructure. It would have been incredibly simple to set up the Cannabis Management Office the same as the Alcohol Beverage Control Board. The model exists. It would have been incredibly simple to set it up like that and then do dispensaries and then legalize marijuana. Instead, we did it completely backwards. And as far as the Office of Cannabis Management and their training, just like Sheriff Schramm said, we had them come in for training. There was no training.
Right.
They had no training prepared. They said, we'll go hit a store. and the store was back open 2 hours after they left, and now they're saying we won't come back to that store.
Right.
So I think what we're going to have to do is think outside the box a little bit. I like what DA Fazzari did. I think that's the only way that's going to work, because if we try to depend on the state and OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, to bail us out, it's never going to happen.
And there was two sayings about government that kind of are apropos here. One is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And the other is, with government, common sense is quite uncommon.
Yeah.
So, all right,
you
this
had something
question,
on that one?
What's
Or
that?
Did you have more on that?
No,
or-
no, I'm good.
Yeah.
this goes to you, Sheriff Allard, because recently, we're going to talk for a minute about no cash bail, because I
Yeah.
know this really impacts all three of you in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
You recently arrested a guy who was charged with beating a person with a baseball bat. I mean,
Correct.
beating him with a baseball bat.
Yes.
And you couldn't hold him. You had to turn him
Correct.
loose. What's
He
up with that?
He was arraigned and released on no bail.
Yeah.
We had another one just yesterday, a person who was a multiple convicted felon, multiple times, but it was a drug arrest. So 2 B felonies, criminal sale and criminal possession, second or third B felonies, but because it's drugs and it's not an A1 felony, mandatory release. And this guy has been in and out of state prison his whole life. So what are we doing as we're also prosecuting deaths from overdose, and we're seeing this continue to rise,
Right.
but the folks that are providing that killer item have to be released.
That's just where I was going with the follow-up, because this whole area still has a huge fentanyl problem.
does.
And you got guys that are being, it's guys, I'm going to say guys, because it
Yeah.
almost always is guys. You got guys being arrested for selling a drug that can kill people.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that's okay. They're poor, misunderstood people,
Yes,
and you have to turn
and
around
you
just
have
loose
to
again.
release them. And we talked about that earlier, the number of lives that were saved before, when there was bail to hold folks that were in the throes of addiction. And we would bring them in, and they would detox, and we would get them into treatment and be able to hand them off to continue treatment, and are still alive today because of that. That doesn't happen anymore. It's more harmful to the folks that are substance use disorder than it is to anyone else, cashless or no bail.
Right.
It's more harmful to those folks.
How zero cash bail affected you, Sheriff Schramm?
So I'd like to echo what he said about the people that are incarcerated, even if it's for a short period of time. It gives them that opportunity to break that cycle, gets them clean a little bit, gets their head clear. Whether it works long term, we don't know, but it's an opportunity for them to maybe get on a different path. I think the other thing that we fail to realize is when you don't have bail, who does that affect? It affects the victims of crimes. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm in a domestic, and I have the person arrested and they don't end up going to jail, or they get processed and released immediately, what does that do to that victim? It keeps them in fear, doesn't give them an opportunity to set up other arrangements to do something to get out of that situation. So, it just baffles me, for the amount of time I've been in this profession, that we have taken such a transition in the focus off of the law-abiding citizens and cater to the criminals and try to make everything more better, for their situation, and worse for everybody else who seems to not have a problem
Right.
of obeying the law or asking for help in the place of a victim. So, other than your jail population being down, I guess you could look at that as a positive. Doesn't help you if your staffing levels are still at a certain amount. So you still have a certain amount of employees, but a lot less, incarcerated individuals in your facility. And also, it's the worst of the worst. And now you can't use that population. And sheriff's offices are very infamous for using your incarcerated individual population to go out and do things out in the public, whether it's, roadside cleanup or other events. Mm-hmm. Now you don't have that pool of people to pick from to do that with. So,
Yeah.
a lot more negatives than positives.
Yep.
Sheriff Rumsey, Sheriff Schramm just said something I want to follow up with you. I think it was Schuyler County in the last couple of weeks. There was somebody who violated an order of protection. They went to somebody's house. They stole stuff from them, and they were turned loose on $500 bail. I mean, what kind of message is that sending to somebody who has an order of protection out because they're afraid of somebody?
Again, it's re-victimizing our victims, because they can get out and go and victimize the same victim or another one over again because of no consequences. But really, I think cash bail, no cash bail, has stripped our local magistrates of their ability to say, hey, you know, this person needs to sit. And they say bail shouldn't be a form of punishment. Well, it's not. It's a form of trying to let this person who has, you know, they're at the worst in their life, or they've made a bad decision, sit in jail and maybe sober up, get a chance to think about things and say, okay, I'm not going to commit that crime again. You know, I think it's really stripped our magistrates of their ability to place people in jail for their protection as well.
And a lot of them will express their frustration with that. You know, they get an unfair rap to say, why does the judge keep letting them go? It's because they have no choice. They have to. And it's very, very frustrating for these judges to have to do that.
Good question, just came in by text. This goes right along with this. They want to know, are there any legislators trying to expand their ability to hold people without bail? You want to start with that one, Sheriff Heller?
I'm not sure what the question is.
They want to know if there are any legislators from this area trying to expand, create a law that would allow you or allow magistrates to set a bail that might keep dangerous people in.
Well, I know that Senator O'Mara has been very outspoken on that. Assemblyman Palmisano, Assemblyman Friend, Assemblywoman Bailey, they've all spoken, and Assemblyman Sempolinski have all spoken out and opposed the cashless bail and opposed what we have. They both bring up excellent points. We're public servants, and sometimes the best service that we can do is when we find someone who is out of control and hurting people, is arrest them. That's the best service we can do, and get them into a facility where hopefully they can find a way to no longer be unable to control themselves.
Right.
That's what jail's about. And what the cashless bail or the no bail or whatever you want to call it does is removes that ability for folks to have that opportunity to be able to find that self-control again. And like as Sheriff Schramm said, where are the victim advocates in this? Why are they not screaming and yelling and causing the legislature to look at them? Because the victims are the ones that are paying over and over and over again, but no one's yelling for them. No one's screaming out and crying foul for them.
Sheriff Schramm, I had you and Beth Strange's on not long ago. It's been a while. Talk about scams. The next question by text is about scams, so I'm going to give it to you. What do you do if scam calls keep calling even when you blocked them? That's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. It's very frustrating for the people who are receiving them. You know, the best thing to do is terminate the call. Don't even engage them. Hopefully they'll move on to somebody else if they're not getting anybody to bite on their, quote, sales pitch. I think what you're going to start seeing more this time of year is the contract scams. Seem to pick up as the season gets a little bit better. You're going to have people arbitrarily showing up at somebody's house, and I'm in the area doing work, and they really do put a bit of high pressure to get somebody to, you know,
give them the down payment.
Yeah, give me the down payment. We'll be back. We'll start the work tomorrow. You know, we get the call and they have no other information than somebody pulled in and did it. So you're going to see more and more of those. You know, the problem with a lot of these scams, especially the ones that are done either through email, over the phone, that kind of stuff, it is very difficult, if not almost impossible to track. Some of these are happening in third world countries. You know, nobody can trace them or track them down. By that time, you're out your money, and it's a very difficult lesson to learn.
Well, if they can spoof a number to make it look like they're calling from the Schuyler County Sheriff's Office and it looks on your caller ID, that makes it tough, especially for older people, because scam artists, they target older people. So what would you say, you know, if my grandmother, God rest her soul, were here right now, what should I say to her about don't fall for this?
Well, first thing is to absolutely terminate the call. But if you have any further questions, number one, reach out to a family member, you know, and say, you know, hey, what about this? But you can always call your local sheriff's office and ask, you know, hey, is this legit? And we'll be more than happy to help you. But yeah, the best thing to do is just don't give them your time. Unless you've reached out to them and asked for their assistance, it's best to just say, okay, this isn't real.
I want to ask you one quick question, Sheriff Aller, before we take a break, and that is, If somebody calls and they say they're from a law enforcement agency and they want you to pay right then, will a legitimate law enforcement agency ever do that?
No, no, and we just had that again. A subject sent $1,900 when he was, and again, these folks prey on the most vulnerable.
Right.
Sex offenders, registered sex offenders.
That was just last week.
Yeah, send us money, or we're going to come with a warrant for you. This is Sergeant so-and-so from the whatever police or sheriff's office. And it happened, they used a bank of numbers that were similar to ours and had the name of one of our sergeants, and this person gave them $1,900 and gift cards.
Right.
And did it immediately. So we're never going to call you, email you, text you, or do anything like that and tell you owe us money. If we want you, we'll come get you.
Right.
And we don't ever receive the money. That's going to happen at court. That's not going to happen with any police officer. And if you receive that, please notify your local law enforcement immediately.
That's a good point. And everybody, please tell the older people in your life that if somebody calls, they said they're from a law enforcement agency, you got to pay right now, hang up. It's a scam 100% of the time. All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with the sheriff in just a moment. We've got lots of good text questions coming in. Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We got all kinds of good questions coming in by text message now, so we're going to get right to it. Sheriff Allard.
Yes, sir.
Woman rights, woman or man, I'm sorry, I don't know. Very interesting program. Thank you. Just a comment. I work as a medical provider in Steuben County and ask my patients and their partner what the best rehab program for you. All are saying recently, jail. Substance abuse or substance users should be held and assisted through incarceration and associated support programs. That's what Mayor Mandel said in Elmira when he tried to get that passed.
Well, and it's true, and we have the data to prove it too. For several years before the destruction of the criminal justice system, or bail reform, as some call it, we had a fantastic track record. Even before it was anything you could get grant money for, we had a program where we had them in daily group and individual counseling with CASACs, and then we had a warm handoff to a halfway house. And like you say, we were saving lives. I know we were. But now, by the time we get them, their bodies are broken. They're past the point of being able to successfully get into any kind of of remission from their disorder. And what we find then is what we're just trying to keep them alive until they can get adjudicated. So it's a very different scenario, but it's very true, especially with mental health and the combination of mental health and substance use disorder that we so often see in our inmates. We're the last desperate chance they have.
Sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Actually, I was going to just say, if I could use an analogy, and most of us sitting up here would be very familiar with the old show MASH. County jails are like a MASH unit. They get people that are broken. They are dealing with mental health crisis. They're dealing with drug and/or alcohol addictions. They come in, lack of a better term, a train wreck. I think county jails do a phenomenal job of stabilizing that as best they can, whether it's constant watch for a period of time, medical constant watch, getting them plugged into the services, getting them on the right medications to bring them off or help them with their withdrawals, you know, and reintegrating them back into society, or even in some cases when they go to state prison. You know, they're much better received, in a better state of mind, in a better place mentally and physically when they have the right treatment there. So I think, you know, county jails do a phenomenal job with that in helping somebody get to that next step.
Sheriff Rumsey, one of the text message questions we got is, if somebody overdoses, you have to send EMS, you have to save them with Narcan, whatever. Why are they never charged with a crime? That's what the text question wants to ask.
First thing, it's the Good Samaritan law. If you are engaging in that kind of illegal activity with a friend, and your friend goes down and you call 911, the idea is to get to you and to help you and to make you live rather than to perish is better than being arrested. So that's where that comes from.
And people simply aren't going to call. They're not going to call if they feel there's going to be repercussions. And these people are going to die because they're afraid of, well, geez, well, I'd like to help you out, but I don't want to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, here's one for all of you. This is a different question. I like this one. It says, if you should come back to the bail issue, I'd like to clarify. I support the elimination of cash bail, but I believe the court should have more power to hold criminals, especially repeat offenders, without bail until trial. I was wondering if there was anyone currently in New York legislature looking to apply this fix to the bail reform law, or if any of the sheriffs would support a no cash bail system with that expanded authority. Who wants to go first?
Well, yeah, I think most of us would. And I think one of the things you did see when the bail reform was initially enacted, it applied to over 400 penal law crimes. They actually tapered that back, I think, by 70 or 80, give or take, you know, which is
something.
It's not quite where we need to be. I think the discretion needs to be put back in the courts where it belongs. They have to take the information that's presented to them, make the best decision on what's presented, and you know, act accordingly. So, you know, I absolutely think that's you know, a great first or second step to give that discretion back to the courts.
Yeah, we're the only state in the union where the justices and judges can't look at the harm to society of release and let that be part of the bail. We're the only state that doesn't allow their judges to do that. And couple that with cashless bail, I have no problem. It's either remand or release. I don't have a problem with that. I think that there was some injustice in the bail system as set. If I have $1 million, I'm going to get out.
Right.
And if you have $1, you're not getting out.
Right.
But what we did was we threw the baby out with the bathwater and totally turned a blind eye to what bail is about, and give our judges the ability to make that change, and you'll see a safer society. The other issue we have is our local legislators can yell and scream all they want in Albany, but it's a one-class ruling system.
Right.
It's a one-party ruling system, and until we can get both parties on equal footing in at least one of the houses, or the party that is ruling right now begins to see the destruction and the harm they're causing with these policies, they're yelling into a vacuum.
Sure.
I think this question from this viewer is the start of a meeting in the middle type of conversation of, you know, give some discretion back to our magistrates and let them have the power over people, or power of the bail over people who are repeat offenders or the violent misdemeanors and felonies that you know, need to be spend a little time in jail. So I think that's a great question. It's a meet in the middle type question.
Here's a really interesting follow-up. It reads, this is from a prisoner in Elmira. How come when it comes to the HALT Act, you're all out and the governor is all in, but no one is searching for a gray area that's obviously needed? Very thoughtful question.
Yep, definitely. And, you know, I think it kind of piggybacks off the question before. Is there medium ground, middle ground, medium ground, middle ground?
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not locking somebody up for 60, 90 days. Maybe you set a threshold. You know, sometimes 30 days with 23 out of 24 hours locked up can change behavior. It shows that there's accountability, but you're not doing too extensive. So I think that's a great question. It's probably very insightful from somebody who has certainly a unique or different perspective than we do. And, you know, it's probably something that should be looked at, but it's getting the people back at the table to be willing to talk about that and say, hey, let's try something a little bit different. And I just don't know if we can accomplish that.
Well, and it's getting them willing to listen. You know, a lot of what the Sheriff's Association brought when the HALT Act first came out was, let's not have these absolutes every time, because every case is different. Just as the gentleman on your tablet said, there are gray areas. There should be gradients to, for example, if I'm just not following the rules, well, maybe I'm only out of my cell for 3 hours. Yeah, but if I'm attacking people, I'm only out for 1. And there is no, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer to this, because every case is different. That's why when we have violations of jail rules, there's a hearing to determine what's the best way to make sure this doesn't happen again. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing with the precepts of the HALT Act, but we're not allowed to, because this is it and this is only it, without any listening to the folks that are actually working in the field.
Right. Sheriff Rumsey?
I think we teach these kind of ideas to our children in the schools. I mean, you act up in a school and you get suspended or you get detention or whatever it is. It's the same thing. And, you know, the wrongdoers who aren't following the rules in our jails and prisons are the ones that are going to meet these. The model inmates that are abiding by the rules and they're never going to be affected by this. So it's the ones that are continuing to break the rules, that got them in there, that need a little bit more of, hey, you know, stop this. And I mean, that's what the jail's all about.
Here's an interesting text. This just came in, and I'm going to paraphrase it. You know, there used to be a show called Scared Straight, where they would take kids and they'd actually take them through a realistic jail setting, and this texter wants to know, why can't we do that again?
We probably all get
Good luck
sued.
with that. Huh? I was just getting ready to say that. Do we have enough lawyers?
So here's where we are in New York State. We can't even take a person who is a juvenile within sight or sound of an adult facility. Within sight or sound. Can't do it. How
Really?
ridiculous is that?
Well, you know, like I said today, 16 years old, arrested with a gun. You know, so what do you do? I mean, the face of crime is getting younger and younger. You know, it really is.
And again, there's no, when you look at the facilities that are the specialized secure facilities, at your 17-year-olds that have committed incredibly violent felonies, our closest one is in Monroe County. And in the conversation with the Monroe County Sheriff, that facility is 90% murderers right now, 17-year-olds. 90% of the, I think 30-some that are in there for murder. That's what they're having to house in a facility that treats them as juveniles and make sure that they don't use any kind of corporal punishment to ensure that they follow the rules. Murderers, gangbangers. So when you look at where we're at, and there's no beds available ever in those facilities, We're traveling all over the state, and people from other ends of the state are traveling, and these folks are separated from their families, and again, it was set up without, like so many things we see from the state, without any thought, without any input, and without any reason.
Next question, and this one just came in. I'm trying to take some that came in a long time ago, but some really good ones are starting to come in, you know.
You're making me nervous every time you smile.
Yeah. No. This texter wants to know, has ICE reached out to any of you three to ask about how you're going to handle detainers?
No.
Okay. I'm going to take us in a different direction. There are a lot of videos circulating right now where people refuse to provide ID or get out of a car if they're pulled over in a traffic violation. And they're claiming, oh, we have the right to stay in the car. I want to clear this up right now. In the state of New York, do people have the right to refuse an order from a deputy if they're asked to provide license and registration after being pulled over? Do they have the right to remain in the car if they're ordered to get out?
No. If they're operating, they have to supply their identification, plain and simple. And if they're ordered, it's a lawful order.
It's a lawful order, yeah.
If it's a lawful order for them to step out of the vehicle, for example, there's the odor of an alcoholic beverage on or about the person. The deputy has a lawful right to order them out. They have to do that. If they don't, they're obstructing governmental administration.
What do you guys do if you pull somebody over and you think they've been smoking? I mean, and I'm not talking
Cigarettes?
about tobacco.
Like
marijuana? No.
Well, that's the difficult, you know, it's the difficult one to assess. The simple part of that is if they're showing any signs of impairment, you can still arrest them for driving while intoxicated by, driving while ability impaired by
Changing it now. Yeah.
drugs. Yeah. You know, we have to train people to assess that. They're called DREs, which is drug recognition experts. It is very expensive training. There are very few people in our area that have that type of certification. Oftentimes, because of the small pool, if an agency has somebody that they suspect is driving under the influence, we have to call them in to do that DRE assessment. So, listen, legalization of marijuana doesn't give you a right to smoke it in the car. It's no different than alcohol is legal. You can't drink alcohol in the car. If there's the smell of marijuana in the car and you have any signs of impairment, they're going to treat it just like an impaired driver.
And if you're under 21, at no
Zero.
time are you able to have, possess, or use marijuana. Under 21. And I've had kids that misunderstood that.
Right.
19-year-olds, well, pot's legal. Not for you.
No, that's right. Sheriff?
And let's remember, you know, having a license in New York State is a privilege. It's not a right. And if you are given a lawful order, the best thing to do is to abide by it and comply. The ones who give the hard time, that sends off a red flag in a road patrol deputy's mind of, well, what are they hiding? What are they doing? You know, what more do I need to look into? So if you comply and you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about.
Right.
If you feel there's a grievance, there's a process for that. You can file a personnel complaint. You can air your grievance with the court. It's very simple. But listen, we're always going to deal with those personalities that are going to do nothing but antagonize the police. That's their sole purpose, is to try to get Facebook followers to antagonize. You know, and you deal with that as best you can.
One of the best comedy routines I ever saw, and I don't mean to make light of this, but it is very funny. They said the best way for a police officer to try to find out if somebody was smoking pot and driving is take a plate of chocolate chip cookies. A question that was texted early today, and I totally forgot about it till now because we're going down this road now. Is a felon in the state of New York allowed to grow pot at their house? Is that that's kind of a gray area, huh?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I don't know of any restriction against it.
Okay. All right. This has got to go to you two guys. I'll start with you because you two guys are really the counties that are affected more than this than Chemung County, is what I've seen. I can honestly say I've never lived in a place where so many people are arrested and convicted for having child porn. It just seems like it happens here every week. What is it about this area that seems to spawn so many people who think they can get away with this? That's what blows me away. They think they can get away with it, and they don't.
Correct.
I am not sure what spawns it. You know, But I can say that, you know, one of the worst crimes committed are the crimes against the innocent of a child.
Right.
And, you know, anybody that's engaging in that activity needs to have the book, so to speak, thrown at them as hard as you can.
Right. Sheriff?
Obviously, this is something that's kind of raw for me right now, and there's so many things wrong with child pornography. The victims, the person who the images are taken of, are being trafficked. There's no two ways about it. And someone has betrayed their trust and trafficked them. And then to receive those images, distribute those images, comment on those images, takes a special level of depravity, in my mind, to be able to go there. And sometimes I wonder if it's because we are so rural and a lot of our folks are isolated, that they go into places that they should not go, even though they know they shouldn't. I know I've talked to folks that we've arrested for this that have injured themselves over their need to be able to see this and to achieve satisfaction from the images. And they know what they're doing is wrong. They know that it's looked on as a pariah in society, yet they can't stop themselves, almost similar to an addiction. Whatever it is disgusting, and I have absolutely zero compassion for anyone that commits that crime.
Well, you're stealing the innocence of a child. You said
You
that. And
are,
that's, I think, to me,
doubt.
that's the worst of it. You're stealing their childhood.
Correct.
They no longer have a childhood.
Yep.
And man,
And
looking
people
back
are
on it, wouldn't we all
profiting
like
on
to have a
that.
longer childhood? I mean,
And people are profiting on that.
Right.
And lots of those folks who are victimized as a child go on to offend later on in life. And it just leads to a cycle of depression and addiction for these folks that is just simply not needed. It's a useless, disgusting crime.
And child abusers tend to create more child abusers.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah, they do. Sheriff, what would you be your message if you had a panel of people in front of you right now and they were saying, man, we're struggling with this. We want to look at these pictures. We know it's wrong, but we're struggling. But what would you say to them?
Boy, I'm not a counselor, Jim. I don't know the right thing to say to them, other than get yourself help. I mean, you need to get to a professional that can help you deal with those demons that you're dealing with. I think an area that we're very fortunate in all of our counties is we have the Children Advocacy Center. The CAC is a phenomenal tool for law enforcement. They are forensic interviewers who are trained to interact and properly interview children to prevent them from being re-victimized. The creation of that center has really taken the victimization of a young person that initially gets interviewed by mom and dad, then maybe goes to a doctor, then goes to law enforcement, and then the DA wants to talk, and then somebody from Child Protective. Now you're doing it one stop. You take that child, once they make that initial disclosure, you get them into the professionals, you get them properly screened, properly interviewed, and the men and women that work in those centers are just, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And they do the best they can to minimize the trauma to the children, and they often end up leading to very, very good results of holding those accountable for that and going to jail for a long time.
And it's an incredibly difficult job because they're hearing the trauma.
Right.
That's what they do every day. Is listen to that trauma, and my hat's off to them.
I know all three of you are strong Second Amendment supporters, and here's the next question from one of our texters. Are background checks for purchasing ammunition reasonable? Start with you, Sheriff.
Oh boy, I'm having a problem with the overreach, to be honest with you personally. It's just getting to be too much. They're background checking you on your ammunition purchase. You can't go in anywhere that the ammunition isn't now locked up, that you can't even pick it up off the shelf to take it up to them. When does that stop? Maybe in some circumstances it's appropriate, but overall, I just think it's an overreach, and I'm not in favor of it.
They're going to buy it online.
Right.
It's going to happen, or they're going to go, we border Pennsylvania. They're going to go into Pennsylvania, buy it, and come back.
Right.
All it's doing is penalizing our business owners. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a phrase that has been heard a lot. You know, ammunition doesn't kill people. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. So to make the background checks or any kind of things like that on ammunition is just complete, like Sheriff Schramm said, an overreach, and it's useless.
Here's a good one. Well, all of I want to thank everybody. These text message questions are coming in fast and furiously, and they're very good. I'm an educator, and kids have vape pens for tobacco and marijuana. Why can we not hold the parents accountable? Start with you, Sheriff Rumsey.
I'm not sure why we couldn't hold them accountable. If teens caught with it, you know, and we can prove who provided it for them, I think that's the avenue to go to, is, you know, find out, interview the teen and find out how they got it and where they got it. And if mom and dad bought it for them, well, they're at fault, and they should be prosecuted for it.
Yeah, the issue is where are they getting it from and who's providing it to them. And, you know, it's not illegal for them necessarily to have it, but unless they're under 21, which sounds like they are. But there's so much that can be done, but there's only so many hours in the day for every deputy that's out there.
Right, yeah.
And if no one knows about it, then obviously nothing's happening. I know between the three of us, we've probably got close to 50 school resource officers deployed throughout the region, and they fight this battle every day because rarely do you find the vape pen on the child.
Right.
Yeah, it's near the child.
And it's not mine then.
And no, it's never mine.
Yeah.
And so I think they try the very best they can to make sure that those are dealt with, but so often it's almost impossible to prove where it came from, who got it, and who possesses it.
And I think the message from us to them is that, you know, if it is determined that an adult purchased those items for a child, whether it's alcohol, tobacco, vape, they can be held accountable for endangering the welfare of a minor. So it's probably something they should hear loud and clear, because I think some people don't necessarily do it maliciously. They feel, well, it's no big deal. It's not really going to harm them. This is legal, and, you know, it's an outlet for them. They have anxiety or whatever, but there are consequences. So
It's a name misdemeanor.
fair warning.
Right. We've only got a minute left, but I want to let you all know that we had a bunch of comments from our texters come in complimenting you all on tonight, on what you've had to say tonight.
Excellent.
So I very much appreciate it. Within 15 seconds each, what's your last comment? What do you want to say? You don't have to say anything. I mean, it's fine. I think you've said a lot. We got 30 seconds left, so we're about. Can you believe that an hour has gone by?
No.
It's phenomenal. I hope you guys will come back and do this again, because we could have kept going for a lot longer.
I want to thank you for doing this, Jim.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
My privilege.
And I know you say this as part of your thing, but if local news doesn't do local news,
Right.
who's going to? Nobody's going to hear it. So thank you for this, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak.
Well,
We
let's do
certainly
it again.
appreciate the forum.
Well, it'll be on the website in the next couple days. Keep an eye out. You'll be able to watch the whole thing. And thank you for joining us. More than anything, thank you for wonderful questions tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.